Year 8. So what we are doing today, we are looking at a cross section through a leaf. So in your activity pack, you have a leaf template, and we are going to work through that. We are going to colour it in together, and then we're going to make it into a cube. So this will be our cross section through our leaf. So if we imagine a leaf and we basically cut through it, this is what you would see on the inside of the leaf. So go and find your activity pack and take out your template. Okay, so here is what we're going to be doing today. So I've done a speeded up version here, and then we're going to break it down slowly, colour it in together step by step, and so we can actually learn the different parts of the leaf. You will need to know this for GCSE, so really important that not only is this a fun thing to do, but we actually learn what the parts of the plant are while we do that. Okay, so everyone should now have their template of a leaf. What I've done is left the cutting out till the very end because it's much easier to colour it in when it's actually flat on a big sheet of A4. So I'm going to use like the normal colours of green and stuff like that. But if you haven't got those colours to hand, you can actually use your own colours, pens, paints, whatever you want to use. So first of all, I have coloured in the top and the bottom of the plant. So at the top of this page, you can see this is the underneath of the plant, and this is our stoma, our stomata. So these are basically the guard cells that allow the gases in and out of the leaf. And then the middle square that I've coloured in is actually the top of the leaf. So this is the shiny surface, what we call the waxy cuticle. So now I want you to colour in your waxy cuticle in the middle and your stomata, the underneath of the leaf, your guard cells. Now, off you go. So now what I'd like you to do is colour in the xylem and phloem tubes. So these carry water and sugars up and down the plant to where it's needed. So we have, when we make this into a cube, basically it's going to connect together, which is why you can see on the diagram you've got parts of it actually in the other squares. So our xylem is what carries water from our roots all the way up the plant to the leaves. It goes in one direction. And then we have our our phloem, which carries sugar made from photosynthesis. So we make glucose. So it carries the glucose up and down the plant to wherever it is needed in the plant. Okay, so we now have our xylem and phloem, our tubes coloured in. We've got the top of our leaf, our waxy cuticle, and now we've got our underneath of our leaf carrying the stomata, which allow the gases in and out of the plant. That's all carried in. Now we need to do the individual cells inside our leaf. Okay, so I'm going to now colour in the what we call the upper and lower epidermis of our leaf. So you might have heard of the word epidermis before, or dermatology. It's another word used for like skin. So this is the underneath layer at the top and bottom of our leaf. So the upper and lower epidermis. So colour that in now. Okay, so I now want you to colour in our palisade cells. So these are at the top of the leaf, underneath our epidermis layer, and these are the main site of photosynthesis. So these are the most important cells in the plant because they contain tons and tons of chloroplasts, which are full of chlorophyll, which is the green pigment which makes our plants green. So this carries the green pigment which allows photosynthesis to take place. Now obviously the reason that these cells are at the top of the leaf is because the top of the leaf is facing the sun. So it makes sense that the cells with the most chloroplasts in are at the top of our leaf to obviously maximize the sunshine, to maximize photosynthesis and make as much glucose as possible. So color those in now. You can see that I've also added a little dot in each. That is the nucleus of the cell. And you can also see the bigger hole or circle inside our square-shaped palisade cells. That is our large vacuole. So the way you know that this is a plant cell is its rectangular shape, the large vacuole, and the fact that it is jam-packed with chloroplasts. So remember that word, palisade cell. Okay, we're getting there now. It's looking good. So you are now going to colour in the spongy mesophyll cells. So below your palisade cells, we have much more misshapen, spread out cells. So this is to allow gases to come up through the stomata at the bottom of the leaf. They travel up through and around these cells and are able to get to the palisade cells for obviously photosynthesis to take place. So by these cells being nice and spaced out, it allows the gases to diffuse in and out of the leaf. So carbon dioxide will diffuse in for photosynthesis, and then oxygen made from photosynthesis will diffuse out. So this is a spongy mesophyll layer. So you'll notice these cells are all different shapes because they've got plenty of room to spread out. They still have a nucleus and they still have a large vacuole, but they don't have as many chloroplasts as the palisade cell. So colour that in now. Okay, so let's start putting our cube together. So I want you to cut it out. Be careful to cut round those flaps around the template so we can actually stick it together. Okay, now crease the squares or the lines between the squares and crease down the sides of the end parts that are going to stick together. Okay, really tuck those edges in because you're going to be sticking this together. So you can either do this with glue or you can do it with sellotape. Up to you, but start sticking it together. You can see how I've done it in the picture. You can do the same. Don't worry that I've got some markings on the inside of my box. That was just because I didn't have any paper at home. So when I printed it out, I just used some scrap paper. So start closing your box and sticking it firmly together. I've now got the shape of my cube and I'm just about to stick my lid down. A little bit tricky. So here we have my final cube. So this is actually the bottom of my leaf. You can see the stomata on the top. You've got the xylem and phloem travelling up the side. So I need to turn it over. There we go. We have the top of my leaf, my shiny waxy cuticle. You've got my upper epidermis, followed by my palisade cells, my spongy mesophyll underneath that. I've got my tubes, my xylem and phloem that are carrying water, sugars up to the leaves, and the sugars back down to wherever it's needed in the plant. Might be needed for seeds, flowers, roots, whatever. And then finally at the bottom we have our lower epidermis, and then obviously underneath we have our guard cells, stomata, to allow the gases in and out. So there we go, everyone. You should have now made a fantastic leaf cube. Send us in your photos. Thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.